Say it again. Power of isolation.
Power of isolation.
Isolation will beget instructions. Interference will beget misdirection. Every time somebody interferes, you're going to get misdirected. If you learn to hear God's voice for yourself, your walk will be much more consistent than you can find walk. So Moses, God had to get Moses by himself. Some of you all in that place right now, and you're running to people trying to get an opinion on where I am. They can't tell you. The truth of that is God got you in this place of isolation because he's trying to connect with you about you. He's trying to take you somewhere, get you somewhere, show you something. And he needs your undivided attention. And then he's going to isolate you so that he can communicate. 1 Kings 19, after the earthquake, the fire, this is Elijah, the prophet, who was running for his life, what Jezebel did. He was a little bit bewildered, kind of down, thought that he was the only one by himself after he had called down fire from heaven and so forth. So he was a little bit despondent and all. And he ran to a cave on the mountainside. And God called out, and it goes on with a series of things. So we pick up the story. After the earthquake of fire, but the Lord was not in the fire. And after the fire, what happened? Moses was in a cave by himself, isolated. Look what happened. He didn't hear God's voice until he got isolated. Now God was speaking in the earthquake. He didn't hear it. God spoke in the fire. He didn't hear it. But when he backed up in the cave and quieted his spirit by himself, thank you, Jesus. He heard what God was saying all the time, but he couldn't hear it because he was looking for it in the storm. They had told him God speaks in the wind, God speaks in the rain, God speaks in the cloud, and all of that's true. But what God wants to say to you, he's going to talk to just you. Come on now. And what he's got to say, he doesn't need the wind, the cloud, or the fire. What I got to say, all I need is your undivided attention in an isolated place. And when your spirit is quiet, you'll hear my voice saying, Elijah, what you doing here? Until he got isolated, he didn't hear what God was saying. Can I say this? We're 2/3 of the way through. Just say this to somebody. There's too much clutter.
Too much clutter.
Tell them this now. We being friendly. Tell them, get rid of the clutter.
Get rid of the clutter.
And you'll hear God.
And you'll hear God.
Our minds are cluttered with what people are saying, people's opinion, people's interference, problems. All of this interferes, distracts you from hearing God. And you're thinking, God, you must be speaking a different language. No. He's talking in your language. You can't hear him for the clutter. So the isolation is God's way of getting you in a place by yourself. And you can hear me clearly. I've been talking all the time. I can't hear it. I got to get you away from the distractions, away from the clutter. That's what isolation is. It's not talking about loneliness. It's getting in a place where you can hear God speak. Some of us only know the voice of God through other people. And that's okay, because I'll teach you that. I'm teaching you now. But at the end of the day, I'm not your mediator. Only Jesus.
Right.
I don't stand between you and God. I'm a mouthpiece, say my heart, what God is saying. I am not your mediator. I am not your interpreter. I cannot read God's mind, or I might read yours, but not God. And too much, we are wanting people to be an interpreter of what God is saying to you.
Yes.
You run to people and say, what you think about this? You don't need another person's interpretation of what God is saying to you. That's why God isolates you, because their interpretation is what's causing you to miss it. It's only an interpretation. I can't base my life on an opinion. I gotta know God for myself. Don't ever rest your salvation on another man's word. You better learn God for yourself. Isolation is how you get to know God for yourself. Lift your hand and say thank you. You with me today now?
Oh, yes.
So Elijah, after the earthquake of 5:5, a still small voice, and so it was when Elijah heard it, that he wrapped his face and went out and stood in the entrance of the cave. Suddenly, a voice came to him, that still small voice, and said, "What are you doing here, Elijah?" So that isolation got him instructions, because God went on to say, tell him what to do. That isolation is how he got the instructions. Don't resist isolation. When God puts you in places alone where he's trying to communicate with you, he's trying to tell you something. So he uses something unusual to get your attention. Then he puts you in a place of isolation so that he can communicate the instructions, so that he can talk to you. The isolation means simply that God is, again, trying to tell you something. So, speaking God language, we got to value the power of isolation, because that's the place that God is getting you to receive the instruction that he wants to give you. All right. Here's the next third thing. I'm going to deal with this story, and that's going to be all.